welcome to this new episode of the Photo Collective Dialogues podcast. Just a small intro, first to say that the sound might be a little bit different because I'm experimenting with some new microphones for some of the projects linked to the podcast. So trying it with the intro and the extra. Also, after the dialogue I will have with Nate from Brisbane in Australia, where he talks about his inspiration, his discovery of photography, his inspirations, and how it has an impact in his life, and also a little bit about the future of his creations. At the end, I will be talking about 3 festivals, photo festivals going on right now, and also a little bit more about the project podcast, this project named Matter, where I actually try to create something without the inspiration, some photo project, and you kind of see where I'm going and what I'm going through. That's the most important, so quite experimental. Again, linked to my own level of expertise, so you might be more advanced, you might be less. I think it's an interesting experiment, at least I feel it is for me. So you'll find all of this at the end of the dialogue at around a little less than 15 minutes. So here it is. So catch you after. And now the dialogue with Nate. Super happy today to have Nate online for this dialogue. I discovered your work looking at the works made with a specific lens, which I like, which is a Leica Summarit 50mm 1.5. I thought your work was quite interesting and wanted to know a little bit more about your reasons of photography.
I'm really honored to be on your podcast, of course. Yeah.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So
it's definitely the same here.
I think it was a way for me to be creative outside of work, basically. Because I do like repetitive jobs. Basically, it's like every day is similar, and you get bored of it. And photography is a way for me to go out and just do the things that I like to do, and like just be myself and just think about the shot, take my time, and just basically seeing people smile and take pictures of them. I think that's my main.
Yeah, because it's interesting. Your work really goes from you have personal moments. You take photos of cars, of food, of landscapes. You do lots of candid photography, street photography. Yeah. You really go in many directions. Is it because of what you're saying here? You're trying to escape into a more creative space?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I started off without any camera, just using my phone, taking pictures of my friend wherever we go, right? And then after a while, I got into like the Leica. Everything is so manual. I have to like slowly taking my time to adjust the light, adjust the focus, and the aperture, the ISO, and all that like technical stuff. I was like, maybe let's try something new. So I got a Sony camera, which is like all like, fancy with the autofocus and all that. So I did car photography as well because I wanted maybe I can get paid doing it. You can do what you love and get paid for what you do. So I kind of did that car photography a little bit, get paid like maybe 40, $50 along the way when I go to the car meets, and then just show off like my Photoshop skill, my editing skill, and now I'm back to the Leica again because it's so desensitized. You don't have to think about it. Just click, 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 click. When you come back to Leica, you have to be in the moment. You have to wait for the perfect moment. You wait for the people to walk across that line, and then you take a picture.
For you, the process is really kind of the most important part of the image construction, of the way you live the image. Why originally did you go to the Leica camera?
Oh, it was my king in my country before I moved to Australia. I was in Thailand before. My former king has the Leica camera. And it was the best thing ever. I saw the picture he took. He went out to do some like helping other people and all that. I was like, you know what? One day I'm going to get that. So I worked really hard and finally I got it. It's like, there's nothing like it. I don't know how to explain it. When you hold the camera, there's nothing like it. And I'm a bit of a control freak myself.
Yeah.
I like to be able to control everything it's like the only thing that I control in my life is to holding like a camera because everything is up to me.
In your photos, when you take your pictures, what's the decisive moment? How do you choose your photos?
I think about 5% of the pictures I took, only those 5% get published because
Mm.
like I took like, let's say 100 pictures, only five would be good. I only picked the one that's like in focus and like good symmetrical because
Mm.
I have that, yeah, in me. Yeah.
I discovered you through a really specialized lens, and the Summer at 50 is got a really interesting rendering. Was it by luck that you used this lens, or
I have a lot of like, not to brag, but I have a lot of lenses with Leica,
yeah?
and most of the new ones are basically sharp and it has to be like perfect and all that. But that particular lens has the soft effect that I never used it before in my life, and it's like artsy lens. I love that feeling of like using it to create the old school China like style.
And yeah, it's definitely with this circular bokeh behind
Yeah,
this super shallow depths of field. You were saying you used the Sony for the car photos.
yeah.
Have you thought about using your Leica camera?
I did, but it's like it's moving object, right? I can't really. It's got to be quick. It's like most of the events, like a lot of people walking past and the cars moving. I can't be missing those shots. If it's like professional work,
Yeah.
like people gonna buy that picture. I can't like fully rely on my hand to be focusing.
How do you see photography in your life since you've started taking pictures? Do you think it has had a big impact on your own personality or
I'm an overthinker as well. So when I go out and take pictures, I can like I feel so calm doing it. I don't know how to explain it. I don't have to think about anything. I can just forget about everything and just focus on what things I want to take, composition, the light. Like I'm thinking about all these number in my head, the time of the day, the sunlight coming down, the sun coming up. Like that's the only thing that I'm focusing on. Let's say I have like a bad day at work. I would just come home and drive out, take pictures and just forget about it.
the mindfulness effect
Yeah.
of taking pictures? How do people around you feel about your photography?
I think most of my friends are really happy for me because they've seen my work and they're like, you know what, let me be a model or something. And I was like, sure,
Mm.
I'll do it, but I'm not sure I'm gonna be good at it, but I'll
Mm.
do it. I would meet some random people along the way and on the street, they would just come up to me and be like, hey, can I pose in front of your camera and all that? I just take pictures of them, and sometimes we exchange like Instagram. I'll just
Mm.
send them the pictures and be like, wow, that's really good. Thank you so much and all that. It's like the best feeling. It's like giving someone is always the best feeling.
In your photos, when you do street photography, do you, as you said before, just go and take pictures, or do you plan it a little bit in advance?
Basically, if I want to, I just go out and start walking, and that's it. But I
And
have a space, like you take a picture yourself. It's like that certain time, that light is like really good. I will just go out in that time, and other than that, I won't go. I hate taking pictures of people like head on, like like in front of them, that like they know that I'm taking pictures of them. I think most of the time it would be me and my partner that we go out together. She would have my Sony and I would have the Leica. Sometimes we switch. I can't really comment on her work. I'll
yeah.
get I'll get badge for it.
Okay. It seems like you found photography is a way for you to get into mindfulness, to enjoy discovering new people. When you take your portraits, there's some really great intimacy in the works you've done. How do you approach those?
That's a good question. I think I only take pictures like head on with the people that I know and I love. And I think if the people that I take pictures of them are comfortable with me, I think it would just come out naturally. I would just let that happen in that moment entirely. So let's say if they're feeling like they're not happy or they're sad, I'll just take a picture of what they are feeling at that moment. Yeah, I'm not gonna force people to like, please smile a little bit more, even though they're sad and all that. Yeah.
How do you see the importance of the equipment you use?
I had this argument with my partner so many times because Leica is not an affordable camera gear to say the least. She was the one that said to me that it's not about what you use, it's about the person behind the camera, how you view the world, how you see everything through the lens. I think it is important to get the certain gear for the right place and right situation, but it's not as important as how you think of what you want to represent that picture to be.
Still need the right tool.
Yeah, you still need
Yeah.
the right to of what the style or the feeling you're going for. That's what. I only spend most of my money on the glass. The camera body I don't really change that much. We I think we're at the point where every new iPhone is basically gonna be similar to the last one. If you get what I mean. But
Hmm.
but then the feeling of that lens somehow makes a big difference. But when you take a picture of the Leica lens, most people can tell that it's not normal lens. There's
Hmm.
a character into it. It's just amazing how they do it.
The Leica, you told before that the importance of how you saw your king was a Leica. What kind of experience was it the first time you held your own
Oh,
camera?
I was my hands was sweating to touch it because it was so expensive at the time. And I just couldn't wait to go out and take pictures. I would take pictures with everything. The cup in my room, the table. I would go out and take pictures of dogs. And I think I think at the time when I bought a camera, we were planning to go overseas in Japan. That was the big decision. That's why I bought the camera.
Hmm.
And I just went all out taking pictures every day in Japan.
Hmm.
That was the best
And
feeling.
how do you see now the process of traveling? Do you want to tell stories through photography?
Yeah, of course. I bring my camera almost everywhere. If I, besides going to grocery and all that, but if I go somewhere that's like far away from my house or like going to the city, go to the beach, I always bring my camera.
Do you have a project coming up with photography, or have you seen recently something super interesting?
Oh, definitely. I think I would try to get into the contest, trying to send my work for the world to see where that gets me. And if I can, do this as a full-time job as being a photographer, getting sponsored, I think that would be the best thing that could have ever happened to me.
I thank you so much for this small moment of dialogue. And yeah, we're going to follow. I'll put all the information below, of course, below the podcast in the description. We'll follow the future of your work.
Thank you so much for
And
having me.
yeah, and see you soon. Welcome back for the second part of the podcast. So this week, I will be first talking about three festivals. One that actually should be starting the day the podcast is out. That's the Barcelona Experimental Photo Festival. It will be going on from the 19th to the 23rd of July in Barcelona. But it also has, if you can't go to Spain, it also has an online program with 8 workshops, 18 conferences, which you can hang on to. It's a festival that's meant to expand the vision and the techniques linked to experimental photography practices. It's for all levels, so if you're able to go to Barcelona and check it out in real, there's exhibitions, conferences, workshops, parties, food. That's going to be a really cool festival to go to. I wish I was going actually, but have some friends that are there. You can check everything online on the website, and you can also check by technique. So they have extensive talks about and resources about cyanotypes, wet collodion, resinotype, experimental Polaroid. Digital experimental video too, collages, and lots of other techniques that you could actually link to experimental photography. So that's the first festival, the Barcelona Experimental Photo Festival. Then another festival I wanted to point out that's in Middle Italy. It's just south of Florence and north of Rome. It's a festival that has been going on since 2011, the Cortona Festival for Photography. It actually privileges unpublished and original works in contemporary photography. It opened on July 13th with 4 days of talks, portfolio lectures, etc. So that's passed, but it still has exhibitions until September 3, and with limited content and times till October 10. So if you're going around, super interesting festival with collective works, but also individual photographers. Some local, some less known, but some more known, like Larry Fink or Chauncey Hare. So you should check maybe the website online and go see this quite a large list of interesting works and photographers in contemporary photography. A third, I'm all Europe right now for festivals, but a third festival going on is Photo Ireland 2023. It's a little late for this 14th edition in Dublin. It has been going on since 2010. It's so Photo Ireland 2023 Revolutions from the 30th of June to 23rd of July. So it's still going on if you want to go check it out, if you have the option, or if you live around there. The fair, there was a fair, it started with a fair that ended on the 16th, but the exhibits are still on. Quite an interesting panel and a number of artists invited by a selection of curators for contemporary with a focus on Irish photography. It's also a testing ground for artists and curator to see how they can create new photographic works, and also for Irish audiences to gain a broader understanding of what it is, what's contemporary photography. I think that's a problem we have all over the world, where photography has really become a medium for the masses, but maybe contemporary photography is not that well understood or known, because it's quite reachable, I guess. You just need a few bases and something that your mind and your heart likes. So yeah, it really is an interesting festival that promotes a critical conversation around photography and visual culture. So there's for example, works on quite in the trend of times, but on blackness. And also it has also the art book fair, the Sundoku art book fair, that's also in Dublin. Everything's in Dublin. And yeah, you go check the website. Otherwise, let's go directly, let's not make it too long, about the project podcast. This project where I try to show in real life what it is to create a photography project. Here in the sense that I didn't really need that project. I already have other projects going on which I have already difficulties getting more mature. But I thought it would be interesting to start something from nil. And the idea is I need to create a work that talks about the problem with inspiration, how you build a project and where do you go. And so this week, not much more to the core of the project itself. Going towards the publication, you've probably seen online the photos of the first pages. I'm not sure it's that interesting right now, but that's what I've got. And I got kind of stuck with reading haikus, and I think there's something there. So last time I talked to you about the project, I was reading these Japanese haikus from the 17th century. There's something I will expand there. I think it kind of suddenly really means something to me, makes sense inside me. Might change in the future, we'll see. That's part of the project. But visually, I got kind of stuck. Looked at the photos I did recently in my archives. Not really sure in what direction to go, so that's probably something that most of you do already. When you're lacking inspiration, you turn yourself to gear. So that's a camera, that's a Hasselblad 500 cm. I've had that, for those who know, I really test loads of equipment. I wanted to test this one for a future video, so yay, so here it is. It's not really my kind of photography, not really my kind of camera. I loaded it with some Metropolis film, a film I had kickstarted also a few years back from Lomography. And I'm going to try to shoot with this Hasselblad camera, see what comes out of it. And maybe I'll find some inspiration for the future of this book about inspiration and photography from that film. So we'll see. And here, see you next time.